it's Miss Kady with Wonderland Performing Arts, and today I have another geek out session with you guys. Today we are talking about the Addams Family. I love this musical so much. It's such like a classic musical. Everyone knows about the Addams Family, you know? And actually my high school did it while I was there, and it was probably the best production that the program had done. It was so good. And I've always like really loved it since then. So I wanted to talk about it today. So the music and lyrics are by Andrew Lippa. Book is by Marshall Brickman and Rick Elise. Pronunciation's never good for me. So the show itself is not, like, the premise of the show is not based on anything, but the characters, the Addams Family, like the original, like the characters Gomez and Morticia, Wednesday, Pugsley, were created by Charles Addams in his gag cartoons. And he basically just created a family that loved everything macabre. And so, they took those characters and added some new characters, and so the Addams Family was born. The Addams Family musical was born. Okay, so the show opened in April of 2010, and then it closed at the end of December 2011. It had a bunch of touring casts, like UK tour, different tours. There was a bunch. And some of the notable Broadway cast, Nathan Lane played Gomez. I'm going to say Bebe Neuwirth. Not good with pronunciations. As Morticia, Kevin Chamberlain as Uncle Fester, Krista Rodriguez as Wednesday Addams, and Wesley Taylor as Lucas. Lucas is one of the new characters that's not in the Addams Family. And I wanted to mention before we get started with the whole talking about the show, that the ensemble of this show was actually the Addams ancestors. So we have two families in the show. We have the Addams family, and then we have oh my gosh, I forget Lucas's last name. It's something I couldn't pronounce anyway, because I'm not good at pronunciations. But Lucas's family and Wednesday's families, basically. And so the ensemble of the show is the Addams Family ancestors. Just wanted to note that, because it comes up a couple of times. Whatever. Okay, so the show. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze any second, so I'm sorry if I just sneeze all of a sudden. Okay, so the show opens with the Addams Family visiting the graveyard, because they have an annual gathering where they visit their ancestors. And in the show, it's really funny because they'll have the ancestors. They're dancing throughout the whole thing, they're in the songs. They're not in every song, obviously, but they're in a good bit of the numbers. And that song's called "When You're in Addams," which is one of my favorites, and everyone knows it because it's "When You're in Addams." And it's a whole thing. It's cute. It's catchy. Okay, so we just visited the graveyard. So Uncle Fester tells the ancestors that Wednesday, who is 18, has a new boyfriend, and his name is Lucas. And Uncle Fester needs their help because they're in love, and it's weird because the Addams Family is very more macabre and ghoulish and scary, dark colors, all of that good stuff. And Wednesday's dating this normal guy, so he's I don't know what to do. And so Wednesday has just invited Lucas and his mom and dad, Mal and Alice, to come over for dinner. So that's the majority of the story is just the dinner and how the night plays out of the dinner party. Okay, so after that, Wednesday is shown torturing Pugsley, her younger brother, on a rack. And she sings a song where she admits her love for Lucas, and she's being pulled in a new direction. Everyone knows the song Pulled. We're going to talk about that a little while later, about it being an audition piece, which I have some feelings on. So she's in love with this new guy, and Wednesday's parents, Gomez and Morticia, are like distressed and worried about her because she's like changing, and like she's talking about how things are making her happy, and like it's the Addams Family, like nothing makes you happy. It's all like ghoulish and sad and depressing. So they're about to have the dinner, the night of the dinner. So what happens is Lucas is shown with his parents, and then Wednesday's shown with her family, because Wednesday's family consists of Gomez and Morticia, her parents, Pugsley, her brother, her grandmother, and her uncle Fester. So they are shown separately, and they're shown with their families, telling them that they need to act normal and like not ruin anything, and that this is like a big night for them, and each yes and yes. So the families get there, and before dinner's even started, both families have failed because they're having like awkward conversations because they're like so different families. Like they come into this mansion and it's like creepy. Like the Addams Family mansion is like a creepy, ghoulish place. So both families have failed before dinner's even started. And before dinner begins, Lucas and Wednesday reveal that they're going to announce their marriage at the dinner. So, like, that's the whole point of having the dinner in the first place. But the rest of the families don't know that yet. Oh, and it's, like, so weird. Like, they're having such weird, like, awkward moments and conversations together that, like, Wednesday even shows up to dinner in, like, a yellow dress. And everyone's like, who is this? Because she's been wearing black for the last, like, 18 years. So they have some, like, side moments where, like, Gomez and Mal are talking and they're having their moments, and, like, Gomez introduces Mal to their pet squid named Bernice, and Mal's like, oh my god, these people are weird, and, Alice is chatting with Morticia, and they have, like, really weird conversation about how, like, Alice is having, like, a loveless marriage, and Morticia's like, ooh, can't relate because Gomez and I are in love. So it was like really awkward. And okay, so while all that's happening, Pugsley, the younger brother of Wednesday, is talking to Grandma Addams. And Grandma Addams is like, I have this potion that will make people like show their dark side. And Pugsley decides to take it and is like, I'm gonna give it to Wednesday in her drink during dinner so she can, like, be embarrassed in front of her new boyfriend. You know, little brother things. And so, at dinner, the family plays a game that they usually play called Full Disclosure. So basically, everyone at the table has to reveal something about themselves or confess something. So Gomez tells this story. Like, Gomez goes and he tells a story and, like, it upsets Morticia. And so, like, they're having a little bit of tension, which will come, like, a little later in the story. Uncle Fester confesses that he's in love with the moon, which is, like, a whole ordeal because Uncle Fester is, like, this really, like, crazy comedic relief. I mean, the whole show's super comedic just because of the fact of, like, the tension between the two families. And it's shown in, like, a really comedic way, but, like, Uncle Fester is, like, completely comedic the whole time. So, while all this is happening, Pugsley tries to put the potion in Wednesday's drink. But, like, the cups get mixed up and, like, something happens, and Alice, Lucas's mom, drinks the potion. And so she has this whole song about how she's in a loveless marriage and that, like, everything is horrible and, like, her life is terrible and she wishes that it was different and blah, 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 and which is, like, super uncomfortable for everyone at the dinner. And Mal, her husband, is, like, super humiliated and, like, tries to leave with his family during all of this. And so Wednesday, all of a sudden, like, announces that they're getting married, like, her and Lucas. And Lucas is like, yeah, we're getting married. And so, chaos ensues. The whole place, like, everyone, because Wednesday's family is like, oh my gosh, you're getting married to this, like, weird, normal guy. And, like, Lucas's family is like, you're getting married to this weird Addams girl. Like, her whole family's crazy. So while all this is happening, Uncle Fester is like, I gotta do something. So he says, he starts to instruct the ancestors to start a storm, so that both of the families are trapped in the mansion that night. So, yeah. They all get trapped in this house together while all of this is happening. Thanks, Addams Family ancestors, for saving the day. So yeah, that's Act 1. The whole show is, like, super, super comedic. Like, everything they talk about is, they always have, like, a funny song that goes with it. Like, there's not very many, like, very big ballad pieces of this show because it's all, like, really funny. Okay, Act 2. During the storm, Wednesday tries to leave, but Lucas wants to, like, work out the situation. And so they show, like, different moments. So, like, Wednesday and Lucas are trying to figure out their stuff. Morticia's upset because of the thing that happened earlier. Mal and Alice, Lucas's parents, are, like, fighting about their marriage. And Uncle Fester is just like, you know what, I'm gonna play a ukulele interlude, which is called The Moon and Me, which is so funny. Like, this man is just, like, in love with the moon. Like, we love Uncle Fester. So Wednesday ends up having a moment with Gomez, her father, and they talk about how, like, Gomez is super happy that she's, like, found Lucas, but he's also, like, really sad that she's growing up, which is called, the song is literally called Happy Sad. Wednesday worries that Lucas and her are too different, and she doesn't know what to do about it, and she's like, is this even gonna work out, because our families are, like, literally opposites. And so Lucas is like, I gotta figure out a way to, like, fix this. And so what he does, the best song in the show, in my opinion, is that he decides, I'm gonna make sure that she can trust me. And so he blindfolds her and says that I'm gonna put an apple on my head and you're gonna shoot the apple with a crossbow. And so she is like, you're insane that you're doing this. And so they have this whole song called Crazier Than You. And so they go off about how, like, I'm crazier than you. No, I'm crazier than you. And so she ends up shooting the apple off of his head, and she succeeds, and they end up, like, making up and being fine. So then we switch views, and Pugsley, like, can't sleep because of the fact that, with, like, what he did to Alice, which, like, completely created chaos in the entire house. And Morticia is, like, comforting him. But he hasn't told anyone yet that he's done this. He's just with Morticia. Shifting again, in the grotto, Gomez and Fester are, like, trying to get Mal to open up about his feelings. And this is so funny. Like, what is happening? Gomez Fester trying to get him to open up about his feelings, and he ends up being kidnapped by Bernice, the pet squid, and pulled into the sewers. And after he's, like, able to, like, get out, like, Mal is able to get free himself, and Alice is brought over and, like, is told what's happening. And when he frees himself, he tells Alice that, like, because of all of what just happened with the pet squid, that he, like, appreciates her and loves her, and so they end up being fine. And then, because Gomez sees Mal and Alice, like, getting everything together, he's like, I'm gonna go reaffirm my love to Morticia. And so he goes and, like, reaffirms his love. And so everyone's good. Like, everyone gets reunited, and, like, everyone's fine. And Pugsley admits to slipping the potion to Alice, but, like, no one's mad at him because of the fact that, like, everyone's in a better place because of it. Like, everyone, like, reaffirmed their love for each other, and, like, everyone's fine. And Uncle Fester gets a rocket on his back and says, I'm gonna fly to the moon, be with the moon. We love him. And so the two families, almost being joined as one family, sing this, like, final ballad together, which is really sweet, and that's the whole show. It's really, really comical. The whole show. I mean, there are some ballads in it, like, but most of it's, like, really funny. Like, Morticia has a song about how she is like waiting for death to come, and she sings, it's called Just Around the Corner, and she starts to make fun of the fact that she's like it's a play on words because she says just around the coroner, because like coroners with that. I was just like, even her talking about this like sad song of like her wanting, her like having death coming, she makes it a funny joke. Like everything about this show is just a joke, honestly. So like songs for like audition pieces for this show is kind of difficult because the only like real solo song that like a young female could sing is Pulled, and that is so overdone that like no one wants to hear anyone sing Pulled anymore. I think Pulled has a really good I think it's a really good song to use as a young artist, like developing your belt, like my mezzo alto girls, I think it's a really good song for developing belt. Like I use that song all the time just to sing it, just to like practice, but I would not use it for an audition because it's so overdone. You want to use songs that are not as well known, and that song is like at the top, like everyone knows it, everyone uses it. So pick something else when it comes to that. There's not really many songs that you can do with it. They have, Pugsley has What If, which isn't terrible, so like a male could use that one. I mean, you can use that as a female. It doesn't really matter. You can use whatever you want. But there's not many real songs you could do for like younger audiences. Older ones you can do Just Around the Corner for Morticia, or Happy Sad for Gomez isn't too bad. But this one's a little harder to do for it because it's a lot of people know the song, so they're gonna be more well used. They're going to be more overdone. So you definitely want to stick to shows that people don't know as much, so that you can be original when you're doing your audition pieces. It's just, if you sing the same song over and over, I guarantee if you go into an audition with like 200 people auditioning, like I guarantee at least like 30 are doing Pulled from the Addams Family. You know what I mean? So you don't want to be one of those. You want to be original and do a song that no one knows, or it's not as well known, or you know. But yeah, that's the whole show. I really love this show. It's kind of got a close place in my heart because my high school did it, and it was one of the shows that I was like, man, that's like, I don't know. It was a show that kind of made me think like, they did so much with lighting and like costuming and stuff that I was like, wow, like there's a lot of like backstage stuff that happens that made me really appreciate like lighting and sound people, costume designers, like those kinds of things. It made me appreciate like technical work. Like I didn't work on the show or be like, I wasn't in the show, but it really showed me like how important those like lighting designers and costume designers and props designers and different like backstage aspects. It just made me have like a bigger appreciation for it. But yeah, that's everything. So I'll see you guys next week. I think that's everything. Bye guys.